What's going on, party people? Hey, listen, here's the thing. A lot of y'all have been like, yo, SB, man, you got to get back in the clone game. I've always been in the clone game, man. Listen, I'm sitting in the nosebleeds. I was deep in the game courtside. And then I had to take a little trip. I was in the nosebleeds. I had 2 or 3 cell phones on me, and I went into, niche land and independent niche land and vintage. And I was always going to spin the block. But in the meantime, I've always had my eye on the game from the nosebleeds. So I got some fragrances that not a lot of people are really talking about in the clone game, the inspiration game, whatever you want to call it. And I want to see if these are bangers because y'all know about all the clones and stuff coming out. That's like a hype train right now with all these content creators. You hear about a fragrance coming out, all 10 of your favorite fragrance influencers are going to be dropping is this the best fragrance of 2026? The day it comes out, if not before. So I want to talk about some stuff off path, stuff that you ain't heard of or you ain't heard of in a while. Strap up. All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I'm your host for the evening. I hope you guys are enjoying the 4K experience. Really a 6K downscaled to 4K, but I feel like the crispiness is putting y'all in a better mood, man. The community's thriving. Y'all been excited to check out these reviews and see the change-ups and sets and props and fragrances. And I don't just want to turn up the production. I want to turn up the music. I want to turn up the transitions. And I want to turn up the fragrances. You guys thought last year I put my nose on a lot of stuff, over 1,000 reviews, tons of videos, content, maybe 2-4 videos a day, every day for over a year and a half. You didn't think it could get any better? I think a lot of people out there are not necessarily praying for my downfall, but I feel like you guys are just waiting for me to get inconsistent. So you could say, yeah, he was all hype. He just got in it to be a culture vulture. He's just in it not for a long time, just a good time. Time will tell, ladies and gentlemen. I'm for the people. I don't need the money, and I'm doing it all for the love. And even though I don't need to make a dime off of it, I'm still doing it like it's a 9 to 5, 7 days a week. Your work will speak for you. The people will speak for you. And the truth never lies. From the house of Lattafa, we have the Niche Emarati line. And I've got this bad boy for you. Sorry for the rant, but I'm SB. You're going to get some side tangents every now and again. Check this one out. Mughal Fort from Niche Emarati. I think that's like a little division line, a side line, a higher end clone line within the Lattafa umbrella. And they created a series of fragrances. A lot of you guys have seen the Pisa and a lot of those type of fragrances. This is a part of that line, but they were fragrances not a lot of people really spoke about. And the very few that did, it was just like a splash in the pan. So let's check this out for you guys today. I'm going to give you some quick information. Niche Emarati Mughal Fort from Lattafa is supposed to be a spiritual successor to Penhaligon's Minute et Demi. Featuring also some similarities to PDM Valaya and Lattafa Kamra and Petra, but mostly linked to the Penhaligons. We're going to see what this fragrance is hitting for. It came out in 2024, so it's classified as an oriental vanilla. So this is pretty cool. I got this in 20 ml presentation. So maybe we'll put it in a giveaway, or if I like it too much, maybe I'll take at least 10 from it, because it did come with this really dope kind of pump. I know you guys have seen this, the ones where you can just pump the bottom of the Addy stem to get it. Okay, Mughal Fort. Enough talking, SB. It's 5 minutes in. You haven't even smelled the dang thing. As usual, we're going to go on skin and on test strip. Oriental vanilla is this unit. Oh my gosh. very pungent in the air, very dense and rich. Men and women's fragrance, so unisex, listed for about 40 bucks. Is that 100 ml presentation? It was retailing for 150 bucks. They knocked it down on Joma to 40 for 100 mil. And this series is dope. They got kind of like a bronze statue vibe with this brand. So 40 bucks. 40 bucks seems like the low for this fragrance, and if it's good, that is a pretty freaking good price for a upper echelon branch of Lattafa who's known for making some heat. Okay, I see the tiniest resemblance to Camra, but if you're seeing that feedback online, saying this is Camra is ridiculous for the simple fact that Camra wears quite heavy and feels like there's kind of like a lot of filler, big booty ingredients in the base that are cheap and synthetic. So the density from it isn't made up of layered quality on quality. It's the product of some filler ingredients that just take up space and feel heavy for no reason at all, even though all you're smelling is like vanilla, coffee, cinnamon, basic things like that. This quality-wise punches extremely niche. Think Argos, think Argos, there's one other brand that this is reminiscent of in terms of weight. I'll think of it in a minute. But this is high quality stuff. We'll see as the progression moves on. This is middleweight. It's very dense, but one thing you notice with niche perfumery is the way they build up a heavy scent is by a ton of little thin layers. So the fragrance still has the ability to float on skin and not feel too heavy, but have a heavy scent presence. And that's the main difference. It's Camra-esque, but a huge step up in quality in terms of nicheness and in terms of complexity. There's a lot more going here. It's sweet, it's vanillic, it's cinnamon, but it also has like this airy breath through it. It's got a fancy quality to it. It's very musky. There's kind of a brown sugar kind of feel, almost like caramelic vanilla. But because it's so light and airy, it really doesn't feel like all in Gourmand. This is like what's that guy? Not Tiziana Terenzi. What was the fragrance? Jazz, the guy who makes the freaking music fragrances. You're gonna watch me think because I don't want to restart this video. The fragrance was called Jazz, and I think he has like a hip hop one and all this. Not Pizzaglia. I know you guys are saying it through the screen right now. He's a DJ. You guys will know who I'm talking about. I did a fragrance review on a deal he made called Jazz, but it hits with that intensity and that quality. This is really good. I love gourmands that still wear light and fancy, and I like a fragrance that, yeah, it does smell delicious. It does smell sweet, but it's got this fancy cologne and perfumism about it that doesn't. I think the difference between certain gourmands is like, I prefer a gourmand that still feels like a fragrance, not like they just dumped a bunch of food materials in it. And I don't want to smell like literal dough or literal cake or literal muffins. You can get me around that stuff, but I still want like cologne and perfumey textures on it that still make it feel fragrancy. And I don't even know if that makes sense, but I'm just trying to express myself. Yeah, it's really nice, guys. It's really nice for a. It's not even entry gourmand. It is a gourmand, but in its density, it wears airy and fancy. Let's go ahead and switch screens. On skin, it feels very much more like musky and aromatic, but it still has got that underbelly of like vanilla, caramel, maybe nuts and cinnamon. Who knows? It's very, it's kind of in the realm of like by the fireplace, jazz. Matter of fact, we're just going to call Kicks live. I'm sorry, guys. This might not be the best review for you, but let's see if Kicks answers. I'm going to put this up on the microphone. This is a first ever calling somebody during a live.
Yo.
Hey, Kicks, real quick. You're live on air. What is the guy that makes the jazz fragrance who's the DJ?
The live on air then. Oh, Zernel Gilly?
Zernel Gilly. Thank you so much. I'll call you later.
All right, later.
Later, brother. Zernel Gilly. It hits like his gourmands, just very juicy and rich, but has this fancy airiness quality to it. Shout outs to Kix Griffey. You have now been featured in the video. This is really nice, guys. I can't speak to the closeness of the Penhaligon's fragrance. The Camera, it's not Camera at all, but it's in the family of it, caramelic sweet. It doesn't feel too holiday-ish. Again, this has a fanciness and an aromatic nature to it that makes it feel way more niche than Camera, any of the three. And what was the other fragrance they compared it to? Valaya from PDM, which I can't really speak to too much at this point because I'm drawing from memory and I don't like to do that too much on this channel unless it's very recent memory. Let's go ahead and switch windows. Check out this bottle. All the fragrances from this line imitate this kind of bronze statuesque style. And I just think that's one of the dopest bottles in the game. Again, 2024 release. This easily will be a 6 to 8 hour fragrance. Cardamom, pimento. It's not that spicy. It's more of the sweet gourmand undertone spice, less than 5%. So don't be intimidated by it being too spicy, or if you were anticipating more spice, it don't got it. So cardamom and pimento, caramel and cedar, musk, vanilla, and amber. And honestly, you get all of that. To put your head space in this has got a very airy, musky, almost slight powdery caramel vanilla sauceness to it. Backbone of just that little growl of spice, and then a lot of amber. Again, it almost wears hairsprayish in terms of like the airiness quality of it. But I really like it. It's almost like Zernel Gilly's Jazz or one of those type of fragrances, just scaled down a bit to be a little bit more fresher, so you can wear it kind of like 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. sweet spot. In a breeze, this would just be majestic. I think for people who don't love gourmands, this is a great place to start because it's not a fat fragrance. It doesn't wear super heavy, but it is a very dense smell. On the sweet scale, it's about 8 out of 10 sweet. So it is quite sweet, but I think the aromatics and the texture of it make it easy on the nose. And in the fall, winter, the dry down on this would be absolutely spectacular. Let's see the Penhaligon's fragrance that it is compared to. Changing constants. Oh, Minuit et Demi is Fragrance du Bois. 41 up votes, 14 down votes. So pretty darn close here. Looks like my internet isn't the best right now. That's a first. Or maybe sometimes just this new Fragrantica format, I really don't like it. Okay, so very similar bottom, just without the liqueur. I would have loved to see the liqueur and vetiver and tobacco maintained in this fragrance, but nonetheless, I think they did a spectacular job. Let's see what a couple people are saying. Good for cooler temperatures. I want to see how it performs in warm weather. Don't wear this in warm weather, guys. This is a great holiday fragrance, but even like a fall, winter, cozy, romantic, I do think it's perfectly unisex. Maybe the tiniest bit feminine leaning. Again, if I would have loved to see the tobacco note or the liquor note in there to just bring it either perfectly unisex or even a little bit of a slight man lean. But, this is on par with kind of angel share type stuff. Wajan, the Zernel Gilly joint I keep bringing up. Kamrakawa, but I can't stress enough the nicheness feeling of this. And it does seem to have pretty good performance. Again, it wears lighter than those fragrances, but is still quite robust. I call this like a middleweight. Let's go ahead and jump out here just to give you guys my final thoughts because I've kind of been all over the place. We did all kind of stuff. We made love to the track at the beginning. We called kicks. I didn't go in order. So this fragrance for me, 8 out of 10. The DNA is not a new concept to you. So it's not the most signature compared to people that don't wear fragrance or people that shop designer. This would be a signature fragrance for sure. But I think it's a 8 fragrance. I think it would go better on women just slightly. For men, I feel like there's stuff that has a little bit more texture on top of this profile. But if you're into gourmands as a man, you will like this. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think the price point is great for 100 mil. The bottle looks phenomenal. They did a phenomenal job. This does not hit like a clone. If you told me this was a Zernel Gilly or even a PDM or something like that, I would believe you. Even a Mancera, but I don't. Mancera feels more cheap than this with their gourmands, I feel, or at least on par. Fall, winter, or like 70-ish or below weather with a breeze. I think in a breeze, this is magical. Without a breeze, it feels typical. But the quality is very high for a clone. So if you're in the clone game, it's very give and take. You know, very rarely does something just absolutely knock it out of the park. But all you can kind of really appreciate is if the fragrance doesn't smell cheap, if it's got really good layering and density to it, if it has longevity. If you can check those boxes, getting an amazing looking bottle and smelling of niche quality is like you're getting more than you deserve at the $40 price point. This fragrance easily is a solid, very, 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 very solid 8. I think it's amazing for people who don't like gourmands because it wears airy on the dry down. It's got a beautiful lush opening, but it wears quite soft for a gourmand while still being a fragrance that has the sillage. I see about in the first hour, I see about 3 to 4 feet of sillage. Your scent bubble is going to be around 3. And then after about the hour or two, because it's a clone, my instincts tell me that after about a good hour and the top notes kind of leave, you'll be more of a scent bubble at that point with maybe less than a foot of sillage. But this is cozy. It's intimate. It's got a little bit of holiday to it. But I love that it still feels like fancy cologne and perfume. It doesn't leak too much holiday, and it definitely doesn't smell cheap. So I like it. Alternatives to this, I think the highest kind of rendering of this feel is going to be things like Altair from Parfums de Marly, Jazz Club, BDK Gris Charnel, Zernel Gilly Jazz, Wajan, Day 3 fragrances, Tres Oros. Those punch with more density and layering. But for a clone, this goes there with them and at least says, hey, you should consider me if you're on a budget because this punches way above clone class. So against clones, this is more like a 9. And for people who love gourmands, probably a 10 because it just checks all the boxes. But in terms of comparing it, not looking at the labels, not calling it a clone, just in the perfume world, it sits right solid above average. Sprays on this. When you first spray it, it feels like you only need like 3-4 sprays. But I assure you, due to its cloniness, you would probably benefit from 6 to 8 sprays. Choke yourself out, go stand outside, let it sit down, and you'll appreciate that you added the extra sprays after about 30 minutes when it actually sits down because you won't have to reapply. You'll make it through your work shift or you'll make it through that date night or that movie, etc. Occasions for this, date night, holidays, celebrations, just fall, winter, cozy, indoors. Definitely the date scene. I think it sits perfectly in the date, romance, holiday, and family cozy vibe. I wouldn't really dress this up to be semi-formal or formal unless it's a holiday and there's fun involved. I think it's got a slight feminine lean because there's no aromatic texture such as, tobacco, alcohol, or just heavy, dense aromatics like patchouli or anything like that to really kind of ground the fragrance. It sits in a very heady, caramel, airy space. So that's why I think it has a slight feminine lean. But if any of you guys like any of the fragrances I referenced, this won't be too intimidating for you. Again, this was Mughal Fort from Niche Emarati Perfumes, which I believe is a branch of Lattafa. And I think it's one of their more exclusive lines. I don't know if they actually sell this 20 mil travel like I have. I got it from a resource of mine that I buy perfumes from, a good friend of mine. But hopefully, if you could snag this 20 ml, I think that'd be plenty of juice. I don't think you need 100 mil of this unless you're like a Gourmand fiend and you're on a budget, you're balling on a budget, you need something like this. But this 20 ml is dead perfect because this isn't the fragrance that you would wear once in a while, but it's also not the fragrance you'd wear all the time. You'd wear it seasonally or occasionally, and then you'd probably have other fragrances that kind of go in this family and want to be able to change it up a little bit. Excellent bottle, excellent presentation, 8 out of 10 for me. I think I gave you guys all you need to know. And again, for those of you guys who didn't know, this was going after the Minuit et Demi, which seems like, I think it says it's Penhaligon's, which maybe it is because in parentheses it says also linked to Minuit ab Demi. There was a Fragrance du Bois fragrance and linked to a Penhaligon's fragrance and linked to Camera and linked to Valaya. So clonish, twisty, its own thingness. And I think it was pretty good. Like, comment, subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. Talk to me. I do talk back. Let me know if you've put your nose to this because I don't think very many people have been talking about it. And I look forward to putting this in a giveaway for you guys so you can take this home and have a great time with a great fragrance. I think this is very solid for the clone game for show. All right, guys, stay blessed, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.